This is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at knbr.com and on the KNBR app.
Presence for these Lakers. Santos knocks down a three. Back-to-back threes for Golden State. This kid from Brazil, a second-round pick, the 55th pick in the draft.
Back-to-back threes for Golden State. That must have meant that this was a pretty good game for the Dubs, right? No, it was not. It was ugly inside Chase Center tonight as the Warriors lose to the Lakers 129-101. The final, I kind of lost count. It got so ugly, especially in the second half. One of the worst performances for the Warriors on the season, as the Lakers come in and they had Luka Doncic on his 27th birthday. They had LeBron James. They had Austin Reeves, and they took it to the Warriors from really the opening tip in this game tonight as the Warriors take the loss and fall now to 31-29. So 60 games into the season, 22 games to go. Of course, it is Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. We welcome you in on this Saturday night from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City, as we are after each and every Dubs game inside Chase Center. Mickey D right there off the top, Kyle, and we welcome in the great Kyle Haar in the Daly City studios. It was pretty gutless tonight. It's not maybe, yeah, it was pretty gutless in terms of the compete. But again, is it compete or lack thereof tonight, or is it just completely being overmatched? Because we've kind of gone back and forth, Kyle, over the course of the last, really since the All-Star break. And it's one night they look like, oh my God, this is the least talented roster or group of current players for any team going in the NBA. And the next night we look up and go, oh, you know what? These guys maybe aren't that bad. Have been able to be competitive against the likes of Denver and Phoenix and others that are in the tanking category of where things sit currently in the NBA. But I don't know, for you tonight, Kyle, as we welcome you in here, more effort or more just being supremely overmatched by a team that had their three best players all locked in and ready to go. And we talked about this on Just Dubs, the fact that the Lakers have lost 3 straight games, and this was a game coming up here to the Bay Area that the Lakers really felt they probably were going to need to get against a woefully, dreadfully shorthanded Warriors squad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the competitive spirit has been there every night since Steph has gone out, but sometimes trying really hard just isn't enough, and talent wins, and the Warriors' lack thereof talent lost them this game.
I mean, they were immediately down as Diggum, I thought that was Diggum. It's not Diggum, but turned it off at 10-2. Pathetic. It was brutal. They were down 10-2 immediately. They were down 33-20 into the first quarter. It was another game. And look, do we have to have a Draymond Green conversation tonight to a greater extent than we've already been having the Draymond Green conversation? And it was an all systems fail, as I like to say from time to time. I mean, the defense wasn't there. The offense wasn't there. The shot making, I mean, DeAnthony Melton, who's been one of the Warriors' best players, got off to a brutal start early, missing layups. Brandon Pajemski had a couple of really bad misses. He airballed that wing three in the early part of the game, and LeBron was cooking. LeBron was engaged. LeBron was making stuff happen, and it was kind of a vintage LeBron first half, as the Warriors found themselves, not with a ton of turnovers in the first quarter tonight for Golden State, but it was a lot of shot turnovers, a lot of bad shot misses that went the other way, and a lot of layups, which I think are demoralizing when you miss a bunch of layups and then those kind of get thrown back the other way at you. And so I thought there were a lot of those kinds of not the traditional turnover, but the shot turnovers early. And just, let's call it like we see it. I mean, this is another game, and I know Draymond had set up a couple of those missed layups in the early going, and so he is generating offense in that vein. But this is another game where the offense is bad with Dre back and Draymond starting. And you just roll through these last handful of games. Tonight, Draymond's out there at the beginning. The Warriors look completely inept offensively in the first quarter. Draymond takes the night off in Memphis. Yes, albeit against a tanking Grizzlies team, but the offense and the ball movement and the ability to have a bunch of guys be able to shoot the basket, it was there against the Grizzlies. It was not against the Pelicans with Draymond playing in that game, first of the two in the back-to-back of the road trip. He was not out there in the game on Sunday afternoon when the Warriors put 39 points up on the board in quarter number one and end up, putting a big time number up on a Denver Nuggets team that they wind up beating, going away down the stretch. Inside Chase Center, the Boston game coming out of the break. And I went as far back as the break. Draymond's out there. They get off to a brutal start against Boston. Obviously, this has been going on longer than that. And obviously, Draymond is much more exposed when Steph Curry is out there. But as crazy as it may seem, given the overall lack of talent on this Warriors roster, and I know a lot of people are going to be saying, well, JD, it's not crazy at all. It's time. I mean, do the Warriors have to look at Draymond Green right now and say he can't be a starter on this team because the offense has flowed so much better with the current other starting players, and say Al Horford on the floor by comparison to Draymond? And Horford has been a better player here than Draymond Green. Point blank, bottom line, end of story for the better part, I think, of the last 2 months. And that's just reality at this point. So, are we finally at the point here? And I know we'll get to Steph Curry, who did speak with Malika Andrews on the ABC telecast tonight. And it doesn't sound like Steph, although there will be a formal evaluation point tomorrow or Monday, doesn't sound like Steph's coming back anytime soon. Saying, and we'll play the clip for you, that he still has not been able to get back out on the court, which that in and of itself I didn't think was much of a surprise. Remember, we talked about it on Just Dubs. What you want from the next evaluation is basically Steph being cleared to get back on the court, which would mean that at that point he's probably a week to 10 days away from being able to return. It sounds, and I don't want to read too much into the tea leaves, but it sounds as if Steph's still a few days away or maybe a week away from being a week to 10 days away. That's what it sounds like. Again, you never want to play doctor or potentially read through the tea leaves too much there, but that's kind of the way it seemed to me in going back and watching the brief interview that he had. Again, we'll play the clip, the pertinent clip for you coming up here. But in this world where they're not going to have Steph, let's just say for the next 2 weeks, do they have to look to make a move to shuffle Draymond Green to the bench? And here's the other reality of where things are right now. You look at the upcoming schedule, and the Warriors, they don't have a back-to-back between tonight and Monday. They then have a couple of days off before they play in Houston on Thursday. OKC follows that a week from tonight, and then they play in Utah. There isn't a second of a back-to-back until what would be March the 10th. So a week from Tuesday, when the Warriors come home and take on the Bulls after their next road trip, which will see them go to Houston and Oklahoma City and Salt Lake City to take on the Jazz. So do you at this point bring Draymond in if you're Steve Kerr and say, hey, for what's best for the team right now, we're going to start Al Horford because we've been able to get off to some better starts in a lot of these games where Draymond has either been out. Basically, these games where Draymond's been out, going back to the Denver game, and he's basically played every other coming out of the break here. And you say to Draymond, hey, we're going to bring you off the bench. We still need you to make some semblance of an impact, but it's going to be more of a limited role, and it's not going to be a starting role at this particular point in time. So I think it's probably time to have that conversation here, because the Warriors are going to have to play this stretch moving forward, I think, still without Steph Curry for the time being. So 808 KNBR, the number, 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. We got Kyle Harr in Daly City. We got the best YouTube chat in sports. We appreciate everybody filing in as well. We're out here at Harmonic in Thrive City, sipping on a Kolsch here as Dubs OT, and people coming in after the Warriors lose this one to the Lakers by that final of 129-101. Some other things to get into on the show, and that's really where I wanted to start. Tonight's a night to vent. Tonight's a night to show frustration. Tonight's a night to just, whatever is on your mind relating to this team. It's kind of no holds barred tonight as far as, I think the Warriors have been fortunate that they haven't had a lot of games like this one, both when Steph and Jimmy were healthy, but in particular in the time since Steph and Jimmy have both been out. I was going through in February. The Warriors are going to end up 4-6 for the month of February. All games played without Steph. The last time Steph played was the final game of January on January 30th against the Pistons. And so for the Warriors, and the All-Star break was kind of mixed in there, but for Golden State to end up somehow, and I know a couple of those wins were against the Grizzlies, but to be able to find a way to beat Denver and beat Phoenix, and for the most part be competitive, I think you'd have to say, hey, it's still kind of a somewhat surprising overall performance for February. But we're talking about 4-6, and there's some ugly ones in there in the 6. You also have to look, and this is the other thing I want to get into tonight, and I already saw No Cap in the chat bring it up, the Kristaps Porzingis trade at this point, with Porzingis unable to play the first couple of games before the trade deadline, Warriors at that point being cautious, and then make his debut against Boston on the 19th, and then immediately come up sick and unable to play Sunday, unable to be on the road trip with his Warriors teammates to New Orleans and Memphis, with their set to be optimism he'd be able to return back to the lineup tonight. And then all of a sudden it's, does he have pots? Does he not have pots? You've got Steve Kerr saying it's not that. Kerr, by the way, today addressed that and said he shouldn't have spoken as to what it wasn't, what it was or wasn't, or how to explain it and all of that. So Steve kind of stepped in it a little bit with what he had said yesterday, and didn't want to get into it any further really today, other than to say that he stepped in it and shouldn't have said what he said. But independent of what he has, what he doesn't have, this trade to this point, and I'm not even talking about the Kuminga part of it, because Kuminga had to go, and we're not making it about that. Although, again, if Kuminga goes on to have this great career elsewhere, it's not going to make the Warriors look great. But the reality is, for Porzingis, the trade in and of itself, in terms of him being somebody that could come in and effectively help this team, has been a disaster to this point. It has been a disaster to this point. There's really no other way to put it. And we can just go ahead and get it started with No Cap there in the YouTube chat, because I wholeheartedly agree. No Cap, not that part. Not it wasn't that one. Did I? No, it was, yeah. Wasn't that one either. I think I bookmarked it. Maybe that was it. Okay. Unless KP is taking 2 years at $12 million, I'd even give him a no trade clause. If he wants more than that, he can walk. That gives him stability for 2 years. Doesn't hurt your books when he's hurt. Yeah, I mean, at this point, and this was the one that I had marked there, Kyle. Sorry, I know you had marked a couple from No Cap. By the way, we got Zerkarex in the house tonight here at Harmonic in Thrive City, checking in. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Say hi to the people. Yeah, Zerk chiming in here, checking in here. Yeah, brutal game. What are you going to do? But yeah, tough deal there. But always thank you for stopping by, my man. Appreciate it. Great to see you. Zerkerex chiming in from Harmonic in Thrive City. As always, stop by, say hi if you are in the area. But no, Cap, I agree. The trade is to this point is without a doubt an epic fail. Without a doubt. And again, there's time for it to potentially change, but it's bad, and they look really bad, and he looks really bad. That, for him to say that he didn't have Potts and then to have to kind of step back and say, hey, I probably shouldn't have said that, and it's too great of a issue for me with my lack of expertise to even be commenting on it. But the reality is, and look, I will be honest, I gave the Warriors the benefit of the doubt as it related to Porzingis and the potential that he could come in and they could, feel that they had him healthy enough to be able to play not every game, but a majority of games. And to look at the games that he's been essentially eligible to play, going back to 3 weeks ago, even against the Lakers. Remember, there was optimism he'd be able to play even before the break. He didn't, and so all right, maybe you don't knock him for the 2 games or all 3 games before the break after the trade, but I mean, for this to be something now where he's only played in 1 game, and it looked as if he was going to be coming back tonight, and now it's like we'll see about Monday, and again, and I don't want to. Come up here and pretend like I'm some kind of an expert on Potts. But from everything that I've been able to read and glean here, if you do have it and you get sick, even if it's just kind of a general illness, and I know Steve had said a couple of days ago that he didn't think that the illness that Porzingis was going through that kept him out of the Denver game and the 2 games on the road was related to the other issue, what we won't, I guess, officially call it Potts. But if you do have Potts and you get ill, become ill in another way, it can impact the Potts and make that whole thing worse. And it basically can take it kind of starts your recovery clock over in terms of being able to get back and live a solid day-to-day life, let alone get out there and be an NBA player. So I don't want to speculate too much as to what exactly is going on, but the reality is you have somebody that's compromised in a certain way, and anytime somebody is compromised in a certain way due to their health, other issues can have the potential to inadvertently compound the primary issue that person potentially is dealing with. But to this point, no, Cap, I'm with you, man. This is an epic fail for the Warriors. And again, that's even taking the Kuminga part out of it. That's even acknowledging, hey, Kuminga had to go. He wasn't going to ever become the player that even in 2 games he's been with Atlanta for an extended period ever again with the Warriors, because he'd quit on them and they'd quit on him if you want to choose to go down that route, whatever it wound up being. The Kuminga part to me is still independent of it. It's more, this is the guy you could get for Kuminga, and now the guy that you got for Kuminga, when you kind of play it up as if, well, you didn't really need to get much for Kuminga because Kuminga wasn't doing really that much at all. And now you factor in the fact that the guy's been out there 1 time and what will we say, 5 games, but it's really 1 time in 6 or 7 games, if you want to be honest, since he became a member of the Golden State Warriors, and the number of games that he would have been basically eligible to play. And, the benefit of the doubt that the Warriors got for the flyer that they took on Porzingis is waning by the missed game. And again, I'm not putting any blame on him. I'm not, he's dealing with this thing, and it's not his fault, obviously, as is the case when somebody becomes ill. It's not on the person. It's more on the Warriors, I think, at this point. And again, I don't want to say that this whole thing is signed, sealed, delivered. We know exactly, maybe Porzingis is able to come back on Monday and he's out there for the foreseeable future, minus back-to-backs, and becomes a real productive player. But the optics of this thing right now for the Warriors are not good. Not good at all. And again, that's separating it completely from what Jonathan Kuminga does or doesn't do with the Atlanta Hawks, because the belief was that you'd at least be able to get a competent and productive and available player in return, even if it's not maybe the guy you could have got for him 2 years ago or a year and a half ago or even in the summer. So that continues to be something that absolutely I think needs to be monitored and needs to be scrutinized as to the decisions that were made here surrounding it, because we were kind of at that breaking point of, is he going to come back? Is he not tonight? Right, Kyle? And it was trending toward, hey, he went through practice yesterday and he was on the mend and he would probably be back out there tonight. And then when he ultimately was not back out there tonight, that was trouble. And now I think you start to look at the totality of this situation with him, still not out there, and Monday in doubt, by the way. And we'll play what Steve Kerr had to say coming up here at our next segment as it related to that. But not only not tonight, but now Monday in doubt for Kristaps Porzingis, again, as he's only played in one of these games to this point this season. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. Let's continue in the YouTube chat here. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open. We appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, as well as we are off and rolling on this Saturday night. Diggum, I don't understand how you can have so many limited and restricted players on one roster. Well, it's not an excuse, but I just think it's a roster that was built to play around Steph and to play around Jimmy, in conjunction with the draft picks that, have developed, but haven't developed into either dynamic players on the one hand, or haven't developed and grown into, players that are pushing, all-star caliber status at this particular point. And I think, some of it is missing on some guys in terms of their ceiling, and some of it is just the fact that I think, the guys that they have and the guys that they like are guys that are, built to fit within this construct, and more consistently than not, don't really have the ability to be able to level up in a meaningful kind of a way, especially on some of these nights where other players are out, and especially on some of these nights where other players are out and the other team's got, a couple of all-time greats and another all-star all healthy and available. I mean, we did the last couple of games, the old, wow, look at the talent of the Pelicans looks greater than the talent of the Warriors, and look at the talent of the Warriors looks comparable or better than the talent of the Grizzlies. The 5-minute test. If you're the Lakers with Luka, LeBron, and Reeves out there at the beginning of this game, and you look up at what the Warriors are putting out there, and again, they got destroyed. It was embarrassing. It was probably, if not, I mean, it's up there, I think, probably with the most embarrassing losses of the season. I don't care who's playing for Golden State or not. I mean, this was pretty ugly tonight. I mean, they got smacked early and often, and they were never really competitive, just completely overmatched in this one. But it's just, they don't have guys that are able to level up, and when they do have guys that are able to level up, they're not going to be leveling up, Diggum, in the, going up against, 3 All-Stars and a couple future Hall of Famers and one guy that might be the second best player of all time in LeBron James. So, the Warriors dealing with, unfortunately, that injury bug kind of exposing the guys that they have more than you would want to anticipate. And I think, to bring it back to Draymond's exposed as well without Jimmy Butler and without Steph Curry. The things that he brings to the table, he falls in that same category of he can do whatever he wants in terms of rebounding and defending and ball movement, but none of it matters if he can't hit a shot, or at least is nowhere near being a threat on the basketball court to be able to knock down a shot. So good comment there. Appreciate it, Diggum. Continuing to roll here in the YouTube chat on Dubs OT. LM, for a team that can't shoot threes, they sure as hell shoot a lot of threes. Well, go back a couple of nights to Wednesday in Memphis. Did they look like a team, Kyle, that couldn't shoot the three ball on that night? Warriors on that night, I mean, what was it? 19 for 46 from three-point range in that game. Tonight was not their night from three-point range at 12 of 44. Much more aligned with what you saw from the Warriors against the Pelicans in the most recent defeat, 11 of 45 for the Warriors in that one. And then you go back to the game, of course, on Sunday afternoon, and you look up and the Warriors end up putting 128 on Denver. And what did they do in that game? 21 of 52. So high volume, high percentage from three-point land for the Dubs in that one. And that's been the other story. And it's kind of the chicken or the egg, right? What came first? Did the Warriors hit those threes because they were getting good looks, or did it appear as if the Warriors were getting good looks because they were hitting those threes in the most recent of the two victories? But the one common denominator, and again, I'm not putting this whole thing on Draymond Green, because basically everybody that was on the court tonight for the Warriors stunk. So I don't want to overdo it, but what's the common denominator in? You look at these last four games, and even a fifth game, if you go back to the blowout loss at home to Boston. So the 2 and 3 since the All-Star break, what's the common denominator in the three losses? Bad starts, poor Draymond Green play. That's, you could say led to other poor play. And then the two games that he sat out, the ball's been moving and the shots have been falling, and the offense has been able to get into a rhythm in those two games, again, against a tanking team and against a team that's a contender in the Western Conference. So it's both ends of the spectrum as it relates to that. And again, we've seen both ends of the spectrum as it relates to the games that Draymond doesn't play. You've got the Pelicans among the worst, although with a significant talent advantage over the Warriors on that night, Tuesday in New Orleans. And then you've got a couple of playoff teams, one in the West and one in the East, in Boston and the Lakers. And the Warriors have just not been able to get into any kind of rhythm. Again, part of it is opponent-specific, maybe matchup-specific on the Pelicans side, because the Pelicans were physical defensively against the Warriors and really caused them some problems. But the one common denominator, just being real about it, is the fact that it's been those two games where Draymond has been out, have been the games where the offense has flowed. So do you want them to bring it back to your comment, LM? The reason they're shooting them is because they've got a couple of high-volume three-point make games recently, and they've had a handful of these high-volume three-point make games even without Steph, and since they lost Jimmy, and those, for the most part, have been the games that they've won. You could almost make the case, LM, that the Warriors have to not only take a high volume of threes without Steph and Jimmy, but they have to make a high volume of threes without Steph and Jimmy to have any kind of shot at beating anybody. And if you just look through the game log of the games that the Warriors have been able to win, I think that's without question been it's just been the way it's had to be. But yeah, on the nights where they're not hitting or they are, better defended, it doesn't look pretty. And quickly you look at, running through the box score again. I swear, Kyle, man, every night they don't play well. You look up and it's like, Pod's 0 for 6, GP 2 0 for 3 from 3, Draymond 1 for 5. It's the usual suspects. The only one that really did anything, Horford hit a couple and Moody was 4 for 10. But if you take Horford and Moody out, and even Melton, because Melton was 2 for 5, which is respectable. You take Horford 2 for 3, Melton 2 for 5 out, right? So that's 4 for 8 right there. And then Moody was 4 for 10. So 8 for 18 you take out from those three. And the Warriors wind up 4 for 26 from everybody else on the roster from three-point range tonight, not named Moody, not named Al Horford and not named DeAnthony Melton. So it's always, I swear, man, every game it's Pods was 0 for this or 1 for that. Draymond is, I mean, it's the usual suspects. And on these nights where the Warriors are competitive or winning some of these games, it really is as simple as those guys frequently making shots. Am I crazy? Fair or foul, Kyle?
Oh, fair, easily fair. And that's just kind of been the theme though all season is in these close losses. Yep, when Steph and Jimmy were playing, it was like, yep, Steph, Jimmy combined for 50, whatever. Who else is scoring? It's Moody, 8 points on 2 for 7. It's Pods with 7 points on 3 for 9, right? So, but it's kind of just been the theme all season. And going back to your point about how the Warriors shoot a lot of threes, well, yes, they do have to, like you said. But 2, the only guy that can consistently beat their man off the dribble is Melton. Pods can, totally. but his package around the rim is not great. His finishing package is not great. But
it is not.
I mean, yeah, without the talent, yes, they kind of have to live and die by the 3, and that's why you get some nights that look like this where you're shooting sub 30%.
808 KNBR 415-808-5627, the number to join the conversation. Let's go ahead and take one more, and then we'll get to our first time out here on Dubs OT. We'll come back and we'll get to not a formal sounds at Dubs OT as it relates to the game, but there was some good pregame sound regarding the Ge Santos contract extension, which we haven't mentioned of yet, and also Steph and Curry on the ABC telecast tonight with Malika Andrews gave kind of an injury update that maybe wasn't an injury update, or at least maybe not a promising one. So we'll get to that coming up here as well between now and about 9:30. We'll keep this thing going to out here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Dre has been washed for a long while. Do we even win any game where he starts or closes? I can't really remember. Well, they won a couple of games against San Antonio earlier in the year where he was playing. I don't think it's as I really don't, JMU, think that it's as consistently grotesque as some make it seem, and I'm not singling you out when he doesn't play well, but it looks exponentially worse when Steph isn't out there because they just need more players that can do more. And I'm reluctant to say washed, but he's definitely less consistent than he used to be. I think he still has it, but he has it less than he used to have it. And now the onus becomes, and Steve Kerr said this within the last couple of weeks, the onus becomes having to pick the right nights to play him versus the right nights not to, the right combinations to put out there with him. Does he start? Maybe not. Does he finish? We'll see. And they have not been able to find those combinations. And look, they know. I saw our guy Kenzo Fukuda of Clutch Points who's doing a nice job working his way this year onto the Warriors beat. Cal guy Kenzo for our buddy Kyle, our Cal guy Kyle, and he had the note that the Warriors are it's between 4 and 5 points worse with Draymond on the floor. And the Warriors know it, and they're trying to figure out ways to get him out there where he can be effective while having it not completely wreck the team's ability to have success. And they just haven't been able to – they just have not been able to figure out the right combinations as of yet. But I'm going to say it now. I think it's time for Draymond to start coming off the bench beginning on Monday, at least until Steph Curry comes back. But we'll see. Again, obviously, once you go down that route, everybody has to be on board with it. I think Draymond would be on board with it. Again, they're no longer really hamstrung by his inability to have him out there defensively. It used to be the defense was terrible if he wasn't out there. That's been less the case this year. So there hasn't quite been the impact negatively with Draymond defensively not being out there and the negative impact of him being out there has been more profound offensively, especially now during this time where Steph is not able to be out there either. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and take a timeout. We'll come back, and again, we'll get into some of those other topics from earlier in the day. We'll get to Steve Kerr talking about the Porzingis injury. We'll get to Steph Curry giving kind of his own mini update, the Ge Santos contract extension, all of that stuff coming up here as we roll on from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Warriors lose 129-101. We're talking about it right here on the Sports Leader.
Live from downtown.
Curry, way downtown. Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at knbr.com and on the KNBR app.
a stupid mistake by me to talk about something that I'm not qualified to talk about. So I regretted even trying to discuss the diagnosis. That was my mistake, and I need to leave that to the professionals.
All right, so that was Steve Kerr before the game tonight as the Warriors lose 129-101. We're back here. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. That was Steve Kerr accounting for going on during an interview and saying that Kristaps Porzingis did not have POTS, and that became a whole thing. And I'll just, the first time I saw that, I thought he probably shouldn't be speaking to somebody else's, one of his players' medical conditions. And for those that don't know, POTS is called, it's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. That's what POTS is. Again, I'm going to wait for more clarification before we get too deep in the weeds on whether he has it, whether he doesn't have it. I know there were some that were saying, and Kyle, maybe you could check me on this. Has Porzingis said he has it? I think it's kind of been speculated that he has. I know a few people are saying, well, Porzingis himself has acknowledged the fact that he has it. But regardless, Steve Kerr probably shouldn't have been speaking about exactly what's going on. And I know he tried to say that what was going on with his illness, going back to Porzingis having to miss the last 3 games, wasn't necessarily tied to anything that he'd had before. And again, if he does have this POTS issue, then everything is related to everything, basically. And so that would be kind of erroneous. I know Steve had referenced talking to the general manager of the Hawks, and basically he called it misinformation, which, again, kind of stepping back after stepping in it a little bit as it related to just where things sit here with Kristaps Porzingis. But either way, kind of a misstep there, I think, for Kerr to even get into it without the ability to more formally explain it or be able to refer to the training staff and or the doctors to help have an understanding to it. And then kind of clumsily going back with the apology, Kyle, that wasn't really necessarily an apology, but it was an I stepped in it and probably shouldn't have said anything kind of a moment, especially related to a health condition that we don't 100% know, although we can kind of speculate due to the symptoms whether Kristaps Porzingis has or doesn't have this.
Yeah, it really all is just kind of a big mystery right now, and like the timeline for when Porzingis could come back. I mean, like you could throw out any scenario out there, and I would give it an equal chance of it coming true. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a big mystery, and we don't know a lot about it.
No, we don't. And again, we just hope that Porzingis can get back out there. And again, my understanding is that the Warriors were comfortable enough to where they felt that, there'd been kind of a management plan in place for Porzingis to be able to get him out on the court. And if anything, that the Warriors were more concerned about the calf injury that Porzingis had here of late. So regardless, again, it's kind of like we were talking about the Kuminga component. If Kuminga goes on to be a great productive player with Atlanta or another team, then it makes the Warriors look bad. If the guy you get for Kuminga can't get on the floor when everybody from the moment the trade was announced said, hey, this guy might not be able to get on the floor, there's an accountability that has to come from that toward the front office and really everybody within the Warriors organization. Again, I'm not putting on Steve the misevaluation of the ability for Porzingis to be on the court. That's not on him, although he should not have spoken about it in the manner that he did. And I think, again, it's funny as I was kind of reading what he had said, and then somebody I was going back and forth with somebody else, in the media, and it was like, well, apology coming at 3:45, and it was actually 3:48 during the pregame press conference. And I kind of looked at my phone, and it's like, what? Like, and Steve's gotten a little loose at times this year. You can tell, Kyle, whether it's been some of the stuff with Kuminga, whether it's been some of the candor about the way this team has played. Even, a night like tonight, and we don't have to play the clip, but it's saying tonight, Steve, that he's really enjoying the season because of the way this team has been able to, for the most part, compete. I get it, Steve. Tonight ain't the night when you get embarrassed on national television by an arch nemesis in LeBron James and Luka Doncic and a rival from Southern California. By the way, a team you thought you were gonna wind up maybe being better than at the beginning of the year. Just kind of a bad optics night, and a bad optics, I think, 24 to last 36 hours for the Warriors, who had been holding this thing together, I think, pretty well for the most part, given the hand that they've been dealt with the Jimmy Butler injury and with obviously the Steph Curry injury to boot, to where he hasn't played now in 4 weeks. And we'll see what's going on with Steph as it relates to a potential return. Let's keep it rolling here on that note, Kyle. And let's go ahead and hear let's hear from Steph Curry, who was on the ABC telecast, giving an update. It's kind of an update about his injury and where things stand to Malik Andrews.
I'm feeling better. This is a weird one. It's kind of unpredictable how to heal, but every day since All-Star Week has been progress. That's all I can ask for, and hopefully I'm back out soon.
You're getting reevaluated tomorrow is what I understand. What are you expecting or hoping to hear?
It's going to be a little longer, but like I said, right now with this one, it's just about can you stack good days, and I've done that. So hopefully they can unleash me on the court soon, and like I said, get back out there sooner than later.
What is it that you're able to do right now, and is it a pain scale on the scale of 1 to 10? What is it feeling like right now?
I haven't gotten on the court yet, but just trying to stay in shape, strengthen everything else around my body, knowing that at this stage, once you get back, it's kind of a full sprint to the playoffs. So once I get back on the court, it is a little bit of a pain tolerance thing, but it's just something that you don't want to have lingering because it can get worse.
All right, so feeling better. You want the good news or the bad news? You want the good news or the bad news? Feeling better would be the good news portion of that, and getting better, every day since the All-Star break is a good thing. Maybe, and look, that was 2 weeks ago now, the All-Star break. I think if anything, maybe this thing didn't get to the point in the lead up to the All-Star break to where maybe the first 2 weeks it didn't get as far that Steph's been out in terms of improvement, but the last 2 weeks improving further there, as you hear Steph. Going to be a little longer, hasn't been on the court yet. And again, I thought the other key note was that you want to get it to a point where once you get back out there, it's a full sprint toward the playoffs. So basically, you're saying you're taking extra time now to make sure when you come back, you're not going out again and you're able to make that full sprint to the playoffs. But what is that? 10 games, 12 games, 15 games? The Warriors currently played game 60 tonight, Kyle. So we're talking about 22 more games to go on the season. He did say it's going to be a little while longer. And I want to, going to be a little longer, he said. I'm not as concerned in the hasn't been on the court yet. I was not expecting as of tomorrow or Monday, whenever they announced the formal reevaluation note, I did not think he would. Again, I've said for a few days now to a week, Kyle, that what you want to hear is that he's progressing to a point where he will be cleared to get back on the court. Now, I'll be honest, and again, we're all reading the tea leaves here. It doesn't sound like Steph's going to be getting back on the court in terms of practice and basketball activities by Monday or Tuesday. Didn't sound that way. Sounds like it, and I know you said it, I think, on Just Dubs, Kyle. It does sound like this is going to be a reevaluated again in maybe a week. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, and I was joking then because I didn't know what he was feeling, and but now that we do, and the key words for me in that in that interview with Malika Andrews was that he said it's unpredictable and it might take a little longer. So yeah, I think you're right on it. He'll probably be reevaluated in another week, and then from that point, he'll probably return a week or 10 days from that.
Well, and the longer you get removed from playing, the longer it can potentially take to be able to ramp up. I still think, and I've said this, I think a date that would be, I think, realistic and also optimistic would be the game before the Warriors go on that long road trip to all over the country. They go to New York and Washington and Boston. They go down to Atlanta mixed in there with Detroit, and then they end up in Dallas. So yeah, New York, Washington, Boston, Detroit, Atlanta, Dallas, and that begins 2 weeks from tomorrow. So 2 weeks from last night, basically on Friday the 13th in March, they play Minnesota before they go out on that road trip. And they play Minnesota after having the 2 days prior to that off. To me, if you can get to a reevaluation point in, let's say, the next 5 to 7 days, and then you can ramp up from there, man, that's probably a little soon. The beginning of that, the beginning, or at least the end of that week. But I think that's more the range. Can he get reevaluated again in 4 or 5 days? And then, because I do think it's going to take a 7 to 10 day ramp up from when he gets back on the court, as long as he can stay in terms of his conditioning. So if you're a week away from being 10 days away, then at that point you're looking at, at some point during that road trip, or if you wind up wanting to give him a bunch of time off to, until after that trip, then you're talking about the 23rd. And that's where it starts to feel more like, oh, wait, it's the 28th of February right now, the 23rd or the 25th of March. That's like a month away. And so but I think the longer you stay out of the game, the longer I think it takes in terms of the ramp up to come back. But I think the optimistic news would be cleared to get on the court in the coming days or in about a week, and then he's about a week to 10 days from there, which would put it right in the neighborhood of being able to come back at the beginning of that long road trip. And I'll be honest, I think the Warriors can survive the next 2 weeks if they can continue to compete at the level at which they mostly have, throw tonight out. I don't think they can make it through that road trip and not be a few games under 500 by the return home, which again, now we're talking about a month to go. Now we're talking about, if you start to look at the schedule and what's left, I mean, if it takes all the way beyond that trip, now you're talking about 10 games to go at that point in the season. And so, we'll have to see ultimately how things wind up playing out. All right, let's continue here in the YouTube chat. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. We'll have more coming up on Ge Santos, our Sounds at Dubs OT, as Ge talking about his contract extension that he agreed to earlier this morning, signing the pen to paper 3 years, $15 million, so $5 million a year for Ge Santos. In terms of the average value for next year, 27, 28, and then Ge can either opt in for a third year at about $5 million or opt out of his deal in 2 years if he continues to be a productive player and wants another bite at potentially being a free agent, and at that point being an unrestricted free agent. But Ge and the Warriors agreeing to terms earlier today. All right, back to the YouTube chat. More Kyle's clicks here. If you want to weigh in on Steph, if you want to weigh in on the Porzingis injury, if you want to weigh in on Steve Kerr, it's all on the board here at Dubs OT with JD on the Sports Leader. They just wanted to ship JK out, and KP was the vehicle to get it done. That from Hey Beerman. Well, at a minimum, and a few people have said this, at a minimum, it is kind of a salary dump for Kuminga. That's disappointing. If that's all this winds up being, and it may very well be all this winds up being, But if it winds up being basically a glorified salary dump, that's really disappointing, I think, considering. And again, it's not so much about what Kuminga goes on to be at that point, and it's not so much about, that's all you could get given the fact that Kuminga's value had plummeted to such an extent. To me, it's more about kind of going back through the years and understanding the fact that the Warriors really screwed up the fact that they didn't move him sooner. And I think that would continue to look worse and worse here as we sort of move into the future with the Warriors having less and less to show for. I mean, imagine the situation. And look, kind of going back to Porzingis, Kyle, here, if Porzingis leaves, if Porzingis, and right now, Porzingis is out. Like right now, I wouldn't sign Porzingis for the minimum right now until he can show that he can get on the freaking basketball court somewhat relatively consistently. If you wind up trading Jonathan Kuminga basically for nothing and having Jonathan Kuminga as a number 7 overall pick turn into nothing on your roster, because here's the other thing. What are you going to be able to trade Kristaps Porzingis for in a sign-and-trade right now? Nothing. He is a minimum player right now next year. If he can't get on the court and some of these issues continue to linger that have been issues, he is a minimum. He is a $3 million player. And all right, maybe you take a flyer on him and you sign him to that and you just keep him around. But if that's all at the end of the day you have to show for the whole Kuminga saga and the ability to maybe more effortlessly be able to keep DeAnthony Melton, that's unconscionable in sports terms to be able to have that be what it is. But yeah, hey, Bearman, I mean, to me, it needed to be a little bit more than that. And as everybody knows, I wasn't exactly the biggest Kuminga guy, to say the least here during his time with the Warriors. All right, let's keep it rolling. Gene, how has Zingis played 10 years like this? He's played more than 60 games, 3 seasons. Well, this is something that, the Potts issue came up as it often, and again, if he does have that, it often gets linked to long COVID. So basically, it if you have COVID, it can be something that can be exacerbated by that as well. So he hasn't had this issue until his time with Boston, going back to 2024 and 2025. Appreciate it, Gene. Always a pleasure. What else do we have here? The KP trade is an epic fail. Yeah, we had that one already. Unless KP is taking 2 and 12, I'd even give him a no trade clause. If he wants more than that, he can walk. I mean, again, I don't even think it's that right now. I think it's less than that right now. But yeah, they're not getting anything for. He's not going to cost. As I pause here for a sip, it's like pausing for station identification, Kyle. Let's pause 5 seconds for JD to take a sip of his Kolsch. I mean, he isn't even on the 2 years, $12 million plan right now. But it really, and look, maybe that winds up working in the Warriors' favor. But this is pretty ominous, I think, for the first time where he isn't able to play, and then you're expecting him to be able to come back, and now he's not only not back tonight, but it's a we'll see when he was questionable for tonight as it relates to Monday. It's a bad situation all the way around. But yeah, I mean, we can keep a running line on what a potential Porzingis re-sign would be. Right now, it's minimum. Right now, it's like 1 year, $3 million. Prove it. It's right now. It's what DeAnthony Melton signed with the Warriors for coming off of ACL surgery in the offseason. I mean, that's what it is. There's no 2 and 12. There's no 1 and 15. Which hurts the Warriors in a sense that if they wanted to look to be able to maybe move him, that then it becomes problematic there. as it relates to what's going on with Porzingis. Horace Bird, 58-79. The Warriors management dropping the ball. When was the last big move that worked? Well, Jimmy did work. Jimmy did work, and that was a year ago as far as a big move. And look, you can say, JD, that fell in their lap. They gave up Wiggins and a pick that they really didn't want anyway. Fair, but again, you do have to also be fair about the fact that it hasn't been a complete nothing burger, but it's been the ability to make other moves and the ability to make ancillary moves that complement the big move that they were able to finally make about 2 years after everybody wanted them to make it, by the way, to augment this roster next to Steph Curry and next to Jimmy Butler. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's do a couple of more here. This segment, something seriously wrong with KP's health, and he needs to get his health back. Forget the trade implications. Well, that is without a doubt the human element of it. And again, in no way do I want to come off like I am, being inconsiderate of Porzingis' health or putting this on Porzingis. None of this is his fault at all. And, we obviously all hope that it can get squared away for just his ability to live a comfortable life, let alone, get back and be a productive NBA player and continue to be able to help teams. Like, all of that isn't obvious, but this is professional sports, and the Warriors are going to be held accountable for the trade implications of this, because they sold everybody here in the Bay on a player that would be able to be healthy enough to come in and make an impact. A flyer, yes, but somebody that they were optimistic that they could keep healthy. So if it proves that they cannot keep him healthy, they get evaluated negatively for that. That's just the reality. And that's independent, again, of, hoping for the best as it relates to Kristaps Porzingis and his ability to be an NBA player or even have a healthy lifestyle as somebody that's, in all likelihood got at least another 45 to 50 years if you go by the average life expectancy as a human. So you definitely hope for that. All right, let's do one more. Clem Ackers, should they start the teardown now? Probably not going to do it since Steph is still playing good ball. It's not coming now. Although how things end matters. I always say this. It's one of the JD rules of sports. How seasons end matter. And, does Steph come back? How long does he play? Is Porzingis able to get back out there and kind of flip the narrative as it relates to the trade? Do they wind up in a competitive first-round series? Do they wind up the 10 seed in the play-in tournament and get beat in Portland in the 9-10 game and Steph barely played? And, all of those things I think factor in. And all of those things, by the way, are on the table. I don't think the Warriors can get to 7. I think they're going to be 8, 9, or 10. You say, JD, 10? I go, yeah, 10. They could absolutely be 10. I mean, look at the standings. I don't think they can be below 10. It would take like a 12-game losing streak to get to probably below 10. But wins are going to be hard to come by here in the next week. That's one thing I will say, and we touched on it on Just Dubs. I would not pick the Warriors to win tonight, and they got blown out. I would not pick the Warriors to win Monday against the Clippers. We shall see, and the Clippers are currently 10th and shorthanded themselves. That's going to be the one I think here on paper the Warriors really need to find a way to try to get. Won't be easy. Need to get it. And then they go to Houston and OKC. I'm not picking them to win either of those two games before they go to Utah. They really need to get the Clipper game and get the Utah game these next 2 Mondays to kind of keep them afloat, keep them a game or two over 500. But they're going to end up, in my opinion, 8, 9, or 10. And if they wind up 8, we've seen they can compete with Phoenix. Maybe they wind up with the 7 seed. Maybe they lose that matchup and are able to beat the Clippers or Portland. in the, for the 8th seed. Man, maybe they wind up in San Antonio or Oklahoma City, and those two teams could flip. But how things end matters. So, Clem, I'm not 100% going to rule out the teardown, but I'm going to 95% rule down the teardown. Next season feels like it really is going to be the end, writes Robert Brown. Totally agree. And I think from the Jimmy trade to the trade deadline, and even the way the trade deadline played out with them not getting Giannis, with them ultimately trading Kuminga for a player that hasn't been able to get on the court yet, the ramifications of Melton playing so well, you need the taxpayer mid-level to be able to keep him. Horford playing so well, he could opt out and go somewhere else for one more year. Like, there are a lot of ramifications that I think definitely lead this toward next year being 100% the last dance. The Steve Kerr uncertainty is also something to be factored in there. But, Robert, I agree with you wholeheartedly, my friend. All right, let's take a timeout. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up. We'll go about till 9:30, so still another 25 minutes or so. We'll get to our official sounds at Dubs OT. More from the YouTube chat as we will get our final installment of Kyle's Clicks. Not a lot of fun with numbers. But we will hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from Ge Santos on his contract extension to remain with the Dubs. It is Dubs OT with JD right here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR presents the sounds of Dubs OT.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
No class, no balls.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Now here's John Dickinson.
Well, Ge Santos is happy on and off the court these days. You're not going to want to miss what Ge Santos had to say about his contract extension. I'm told from our buddy Austin Scott, Kyle, who was in the post-game press conference, Chase Center, sitting there behind me, that he and his time, and he's covered these Warriors post-game pressers for about 3 years now, about 2.5 years. This is the end of his third season. And it was the greatest explosion of laughter he's heard in the press conference room with what Ge Santos had to say about a little trick that he played on his parents in relaying the info as to receiving the 5-year, or I keep saying 5-year, 3-year, $15 million, $5 million per year contract extension with the Warriors. So that's coming up here in Sounds of Dubs OT. But let's go ahead and hear first from Steve Kerr on Ge Santos as he met with the media pregame and was asked about his excitement for Ge to be able to stick with this Warriors team for a couple of more years.
Happy for Ge and happy for us. It's he's been such an important player for us, but also just incredible development story, and second round pick, and spent his entire first year in Santa Cruz, and I think he was on a two-way at some point, but he's become one of our most important players, and we're all just so thrilled for him, and he's excited. It's a great day.
An incredible development story. Look at Steve Wild in there, Kyle. He called it an incredible development story. Ge Santos to go from undrafted to now somebody that gets a second contract in the NBA with the Warriors. And we'll see what the limit in terms of the ceiling ultimately is for him. But I think he has proven here that he is for sure a rotational player, and that was slick, Steve. KM John, look, I'm telling you, Steve. I'm telling you, KM. Steve has been high on his supply a little bit this year in some of these press conferences with the sneaky notes. JMU Ge was drafted, second round pick, right? Ge Santos. Appreciate you on that. Allowing for that to come out. 55th pick, my bad, in 2022. Winds up being somebody that gets a contract extension. So good stuff there for Ge. And yes, definitely a developmental story. Anybody that's picked in the final 5 picks of the draft is practically undrafted. But no, JMU, I appreciate you keeping me honest on that one. Let's continue. One more from Kerr on Ge Santos going from obviously being a second rounder to being a key cog for the Dubs.
Well, I mean, most players, it takes time to develop. There's very few guys who come into this league ready to play and contribute. So everyone kind of has a different journey, a different pace, and you just appreciate when somebody is able to rise up from the bottom of the second round to where he is now, as a starter, as a crucial player for us. So it's a great story, but it only happens because of his intestinal fortitude, his work ethic, commitment. So it's a great day.
Long night, Andis. Long day, brother. Or I'm sorry, Robert. Now I'm confusing Robert with Andis. All right. What is going on here, Kyle? 129 to 101 is what's going on here on Dubs OT. Sorry, Robert. Oh my goodness. We lit tonight here on Dubs OT. No, we're having a good time. But yeah, I mean, it really is a testament to Ge Santos and his ability to be able to go from being the 55th pick to being somebody that I'll put it this way. Would anybody have believed at the beginning of this season that Ge Santos would get a contract extension of any kind in mid-season during the season? Like, nobody would have thought that, right? Nobody would have thought that. Robert, JD off the Aaron Rodgers pack. No ayahuasca. No ayahuasca tonight on Dubs OT. Wow. Robert, killing me. Let me tell you, I wouldn't be hanging with Aaron Rodgers. Man, y'all are killing me tonight. All right, let's continue. Here's the clip that is the clip of the night, maybe the clip of the season from Ge Santos. So I want to set this up for you. This is Ge explaining to his parents that he got the contract extension, and he played a little trick on his parents in breaking the news to them about being extended by the Warriors.
How did your family react to the news?
They were very excited, emotional, like they, more than everybody, they know how tough it was for me to make here. So just to have them, the call that I told them, I was kind of serious. Like, Dad, Mom, I got something like serious to talk to you guys. And they thought that I got my fiancé pregnant. So
when you called your parents and acted all serious, were you purposefully trying to trick them? And where did you initially think that their head was going to go with all that?
No, I was doing that on purpose because, when you got a call from your son and say, I got something really serious to talk about, they know my life was good. I was not doing nothing wrong. That was the only thing that could happen. Like, we got a mini Ge coming here. So, yeah, but that was just a joke. And they were like, okay. Yes, but if that was the news for them, they would love it too. But it's kind of a different. Yeah. Now I can get some more Ge's. All right.
So there you go. Now we can get on the more Ge's with the fiance apparently there. So yeah, he basically had his parents thinking that there were going to be some mini Ge's with his fiance. But no, in all seriousness, Ge going with the Ge going. I thought it was more Kawhi. I mean, I like the Kawhi laugh, mini Ge. But yeah, that was that might be the quote of the year. Give me a little Kawhi and give me a little Ge. Let's see if we can go. Can we go back to back with the? Oh, we can't. Yeah, because Kyle played that clip in a different way, so I don't think he has it on the editing board yet. Can we get a little Ge? We'll work on that for the end. We might need to. Mix those together. A different. Now give me Kawhi. I mean, definitely not the same, but yeah, Ge's pretty funny, man. That was pretty funny, breaking the news and the big news, and getting that 3-year, $15 million contract extension. Now you got enough paper to be able to be feeling good about getting with the fiance and worried about the mini Ge's. That was pretty good. Ge had jokes tonight in the post-game press conference, and the last part was pretty nice, and that's the one that made the room erupt here in Chase Center on a night where everybody could use a little bit of levity, and the Warriors getting destroyed by the Lakers, 129-101. All right, let's hear a couple of more here. This from the Steph Curry interview. We played the injury update from Steph with Malik Andrews of ABC and ESPN. Let's go ahead and re-rack that. Here's Steph talking in a little bit more depth about the injury.
I'm feeling better. This is a weird one. It's kind of unpredictable how to heal, but every day since All-Star Weekend's been progress. That's all I can ask for, and hopefully I'm back out soon.
You're getting reevaluated tomorrow is what I understand. What are you expecting or hoping to hear?
It's going to be a little longer, but like I said, right now with this one, it's just about can you stack good days, and I've done that. So hopefully they can unleash me on the court soon, and like I said, get back out there sooner than later.
What is it that you're able to do right now, and is it a pain scale on the scale of 1 to 10? What is it feeling like right now?
I haven't gotten on the court yet, but just trying to stay in shape, strengthen everything else around my body, knowing that at this stage, once you get back, it's kind of a full sprint to the playoffs. So once I get back on the court, it is a little bit of a pain tolerance thing, but it's just something that you don't want to have lingering because it can get worse.
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to come back and not have to go out again, which I think is why Steph is, as he said, his words, going to be out a little longer. But the formal reevaluation coming tomorrow. And then one more from Steph here before we get back to some Kyle's clicks. And it'll be Steph talking about, of course, the man of the night, and that is the man of the 3-year, $15 million contract extension in Ge Santos.
It's such an amazing story. Just he was so happy to just be on an NBA team at one point, and now to being a big part of our rotation, really developing and becoming an impactful player on both ends of the floor, and being rewarded with that type of security, coming where he came from. It's a big deal. It's a big celebration today for him pregame, and I know as we get into the playoff chase, hopefully he'll continue to prove his value there.
Yeah, and somebody that has proven his value to this point. And again, I mean, at this point, what's the limit? We don't really know. I mean, I would not, and I don't think anybody would have thought that he would have been, a player that would get a contract extension in season. So we'll see. I mean, he's gone from, I think, 11 to 15 man on a team to, somebody that is at a minimum a bona fide bench player. And again, somebody that I think could be a real useful player. If the Warriors could, continue to add a little bit more higher end talent to the starting lineup. If you could tell me that Ge Santos was going to be a 8th, 9th, 10th man, when Steve Kerr and most coaches play at least 10 on a given night, he's somebody, especially at that price point, that really could help this Warriors team. And I will also say this. I do think we may look back at Ge Santos making $5 million next year and $5 million the following year, and we'll leave the opt-out year of 28, 29 out of it. But, the Warriors very quickly, when they signed Moses Moody, it looked like, ooh, that's a lot. Like $11 million for Moses Moody, and 11 to 13 million basically over 3 years. That's a lot for Moses Moody. And now Moses Moody very quickly has turned into looking like a bargain at the price point. I think Ge Santos is going to wind up looking like a bargain at the price point of basically $5 million a year for the next couple of years. And again, the type of player, as we talked about on Just Dubs, the type of player who really can fit in any system with any combination of players because he hustles and he keeps it moving. And he's just got a great spirit about him. He's a little bit more skilled, I think, than he gets credit for in terms of the ability to drive to the basket. He had a beautiful spin move tonight, driving spin move tonight. One of the better moves of the night tonight. And I think he's the kind of player whose shooting will only improve throughout the course of his career. Like I would not be surprised if we look up at Ge Santos, and I think he actually could become pretty close to a 40% three-point shooter if he gets, in the gym in the offseason. And this year he's 39 from three-point range, career 36. I actually think he could get it up into the 38 and a half with some consistency. I think he could get over 40 in terms of being that kind of player from three. And if he can do that, I mean, then you're a 3-and-D, 3 and hustle, 3 and be able to drive a closeout. I think Tim Kawakami of SF Standard asked Steve Kerr about Ge driving to the basket more. And again, I don't want to act like he's, going to be necessarily an all-star caliber player, but he's the kind of guy that really can help any team in a lot of ways. And so I think I think it's going to wind up being a bargain here for the next couple of years as it relates to Ge Santos. So congratulations to him on the big-time payday. As he's going to more than double his salary. There aren't a lot of people that have the ability. And again, plenty of money for little Gees now. That's right, Gee. But he's going to more than double his salary from this year, next year. I don't care what you do. There aren't a lot of people who have the ability to more than double their salary from 1 year to the next. So congratulations to Ge Santos on the new deal. All right, Kyle, let's wrap it up here. We'll go about 5-6 more minutes. And let's get to the YouTube chat again. We'll close it up here. Zerkerex, it was great to see Zerkerex out here at Harmonic. So we trade JK, who barely played, for KP, who barely can play. Yeah, although the 2 games that Kuminga has played have been really freaking good so far for the Hawks. And so you have to credit Jonathan Kuminga for that. The Warriors need a little more out of Porzingis than they've been able to get to this point. Rolling along here from Zerkerex to Estimated Eyes. Dare I say Wiggins was better than Melton? Wiggins was better than Melton. Wiggins when was better than Melton? I don't know. Wiggins, I think Wiggins is a better player than Melton. I think Wiggins at his best is a better player than Melton. I think Wiggins has accomplished heights in his career greater than Melton. But I mean, Melton's solid. I don't know. I don't disagree with you, Estimated, but I'm not exactly sure where you were going with that. Let's keep it going. Dig 'em. Warriors have other 1-game players too. Shout out Steph Curry. It's a good point. And remember what a game it was, right? He came out smoking against, what was it, Oklahoma City in that game where they got blown out. And then hasn't played since. So, but yeah, that's pretty crazy to have more than one game player with such a expansive sample size. Let's keep it rolling here. Robert Brown, can't let Porzingis go. You need guys to collect dust on the bench, or they're not Golden State Kaiser Permanentes. Well, that's in line with Seth, who's been one of these guys as well. So yeah, that's why Seth isn't playing, because he can't top that performance. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's keep it rolling. I'm going to give the controls back to Kyle. Hey, Beerman, I picked the wrong night to tell myself I wasn't going to go ballistic on this crappy performance. I mean, it's tough to go ballistic on it. I mean, like I said, I go back and forth every night here for really all of February. One night I think they're the worst roster in the league with the guys they're currently playing, and the next night I'm thinking I'm being too hard on them because they're competitive and or earn themselves – a win against somebody that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to get a win against. So I don't know. I'm not going crazy about it, but I do think in the next week this thing has the potential to maybe get a little bit uglier if they can't win that Clipper game in particular. All right, San Jose Jazz fan 8. The Warriors may or may not have been gutless, but they were definitely bangless. Yeah, bangless on the 10th anniversary yesterday of the Stephen Curry double bang in Oklahoma City to beat the Thunder. And, of course, Mike Breen in the house tonight. Bang! Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that tonight. It might have been a bangless game for Breen tonight. I mean, it was all LeBron in the first half, and then it was Luka in the third quarter and everybody else in between. So, yeah, definitely a bangless night for Golden State. Wiggins is 16 points, 40%, 3 rebounds, 40% from 3. Wiggins is a good player. Warriors would love to have Andrew Wiggins back on the team with Jimmy and healthy and Horford and Melton and all these guys. Robert Brown, I think, might have the comment of the night, but I don't know if we want to I don't know if we want to.
There are some good ones. There are some good ones tonight.
That may be one that I hope you marked him. We may need to do a portion tonight where I don't speak them, but we put them on
the uncensored comment of the night, or the censored. I mean,
we might need to do some. JD isn't going to say them, but we're going to put them on the screen. Comments of the night. We might need to do that tonight here on Dubs OT after we get to the actual comment of the night. That was a good one. That's up there for comment of the year. That's up there with comment of the year for Gui. Let's do a couple of more here. Hopefully they're not needed. Kyle Chung off the bench. That is inside. Man, that is inside Dubs OT. That is good. The sports leader, Dubs OT knowledge from Rusty Dale there. Yeah, I do too, Robert. I'm with you. I do too. Sorry, put that other one back up. I do too, Robert. Hardworking fans are done get fleeced. Is Lacob? Yeah, not pretty. Tonight are the not pretty nights because tonight was a premium game that a lot of people in the building paid a lot of money for. There are a lot of Laker fans in the building doing their thing. I think it was a night where there's always going to be quite a few Laker fans. I thought some Warrior fans probably sold their tickets to Laker fans tonight. And the Laker fans were really feeling themselves in this one tonight. All right, let's get to our comment of the night, the official comment of the night, and then Kyle's going to run through some other ones.
Time for the Dubs OT comment of the night.
All right, from Kyle here. Sister-in-law left town finally. Dear Lord, give me some JD. Bless my soul, KNBR. Cheers, my friend. Out here from Harmonic in Thrive City, even on a bad night. And man, tonight was a bad night. We have not. Tonight was ugly. And yeah, wow. 129 to 101. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. But yeah, Kyle McKiernan with the Dubs OT comment of the night. First time winner for our buddy Kyle McKiernan. We appreciate you there. All right, Kyle, let's go. Kyle Haar, let's go. Give me the best. Give me these are comments, by the way. I can read that one. I watched GP2 take 3 straight shots tonight. Tell me everything I need to know about the current state of the Warriors. We're not going to do fun with numbers tonight. We're going to call it a night, but we're going to now do a quick installment of JD can't read these on the air. Otherwise, he might lose the license and his job. But we can play them in the YouTube chat and everybody can react. So I don't know what we're going to call this. Dubs OT After Dark. Dubs OT.
It might just be Robert Brown's Dubs OT After Dark.
Well, let's go. Let's go. Give me the best of Robert Brown. Well, yes, of course. 100%. That's true. Shout out Jimmy Butler. All right, let's keep it rolling. Okay. Let's keep it rolling. I know, we're waiting. It's okay. I can talk. I mean, it's Saturday night. Whoa. Okay, only a fool would have paid hundreds for that game tonight, especially with the Warriors missing guys. I think the Laker fans took the money. But yeah. Okay. Thanks, San Jose Jazz. Thanks, San Jose Jazz fan. Appreciate you. One more? 2 more? How many more? Kyle can't find them. JD and Kyle are a bargain. All right. I said I wasn't going to stay for all of Dubs OT, but if JD and Kyle are staying, then I'm staying. Let's finish strong, guys. Well, that's it. That's going to do it. Dig them. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. It is a tough night. There are some nights that are easy to do, 90 minutes, easier than others. But we pretty much guarantee you we'll do 90, 95% of the night, and sometimes 90 turns into 2 hours pretty quickly. But tonight, and thank you, Robert. I'll need it. I will need it, Robert Brown. You can represent me anytime. Thank you, sir. Even if I call you Andis, even if I called you Andis, well, I appreciate you. So that's going to do it for us. Kyle, appreciate you, my man. You got a final thought on this one as we hit the weekend? First off day for your boy in 10, by the way, tomorrow. Nice. 10 straight. Tonight caps a little 10 straight. I think I'm going to the Sharks game tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think I'm going to go to the Sharks
tonight?
game tomorrow. This afternoon, and they have an afternoon game tomorrow. So a little matinee for the Sharkies tomorrow.
There you go. But final thought is, JD, you get an off night tomorrow. Warriors had an off night tonight, but Ge Santos is not having an off night tonight.
Ge Santos will not be having an off night tonight. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Thanks to you, my friend. Who else do we have helping out in the studio?
We had one of our more recent hires, Gabe, did a good job getting all the mid-game Curry, all the pre and post. Good stuff.
Gabe Kapler?
No.
Not Gabe Kapler.
Calderon.
Okay.
Calderon.
Okay. Appreciate you, Gabe. Nice job. Thanks to Kyle. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to those who texted. We'll be back on Monday right here at Harmonic. And join me with Derek Papa. We'll be out here for Dirty Work as well from 2 to 6 from Harmonic in Thrive City. And then we'll have the show for you after the game as well. So we'll talk to you then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Right here, Warriors lose 129-101, but we still have the best Dubs coverage in the Bay. It's right here, Dubs OT, and right here on the Sports Leader. Good night. John Dickinson.
No, God! No!